Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Look, man, I like Ray Ford. Make sure you become a member to the channel, subscribe to the channel. I'd appreciate it. But you know, I know these boxers put a lot of pressure on themselves, but when Ray Ford comes out and says, hey, look, I didn't like my performance against Abraham Nova, I just think you want to have high expectations for yourself. I've always said, lofty goals are common for the uncommon, but lofty goals are uncommon for common people. Ray Ford obviously doesn't see himself as a common boxer. But what I will tell you is, maybe Ray Ford doesn't realize he's putting so much unnecessary pressure on himself. Does he talk a big game? Yes. He always does. If you look at his social media presence, especially on Twitter, you can see that Ray Ford always has something to say. He goes back and forth with other fighters. But one thing's for sure, no matter what he says, Ray Ford is an amazing fighter, and he backs up his talk. But when he fought Abraham Nova this weekend, I remember watching that thinking, especially in the first 4 or 5 rounds, I'm like, Nova came to Saudi Arabia to win. The thing about Nova, I noticed he was very short, crisp shots, but he was making it physical. He was roughing up Ray Ford. Now, you can tell Ray Ford's used to tough sparring because he passed the test with flying colors, but it got a little uncomfortable in there for him at times, and as a result, he wasn't happy with his performance. But what I will tell you is, although he felt he did a lot of things wrong, I don't know if I quite agree with that. I just think you end up with a guy like Nova who's, back is against the wall. He doesn't want to take a loss. They're out there, they've hit the Turkey ALALSHIKH sweepstakes once. They want to hit it again. But that's just something I think all fighters should bring to the ring out there in Saudi Arabia with Turkey. You know what I'm saying? Fight hard, rough it up, make the referee do his job, and try to get a victory. But the thing is, you got to stay calm, especially when you end up with a fighter who's being very physical with you. Don't try to just land big shots. You want to pepper them up with some lightning quick combinations. Get your respect. Don't go out there looking for the big knockout. I think Ray Ford was really trying to land something hard, land something big, kind of to get the respect of Abraham Noah. But I think it's a good learning experience for him. I think he's just going to keep getting better and better. And I will tell you this. I hate the fact that they jerked him against Nick Ball. He beat Nick Ball's ass. That ain't no question. But you go out there to Saudi, there's some things that are happening that I just have to put the hairy eyeball on it and ask the question, the questions. Who, what, when, where, why, how? Is and are these things happening? Anyway, the New Jersey native, he's trying to get himself a championship. 130 pounds, I think Ray Ford can do it. 18 wins, he has 8 KOs, 1 loss, 1 draw. Really shouldn't have any losses if you ask me. But this O'Shaquie Foster, when you see them guys on Twitter going back and forth, that's who he wants to scrap with. So we'll see if he can get in the ring, because O'Shaquie Foster is the division's WBC belt holder. But if for some reason that fight can't materialize, one thing about Ray Ford, he'll fight anyone, but he just wants a title. And hopefully that, his team can help line that up for him. But what I will say is, when you got guys like O'Shaquie Foster, Ray Ford, even Nick Ball to a certain extent, I just don't think many people want to get in the ring with those guys because they know that it's a high risk. Yeah, the reward is there, but they don't seem to be thinking about the reward. They just look at the risk. And although Turkey's making, big fights, this is still that era where everyone wants to remain undefeated. You know what I'm saying? So did he look great this past weekend? I thought he looked as good as he could possibly look against a guy who was really good and trying to win. But Ray Ford has other plans, and he's not accepting the loss. Well, the win, to him is more like a loss because of how he performed. But I do think maybe when you look a little bit vulnerable in the ring, maybe you get those guys who wouldn't get in the ring with you to say, "I want him now." It looks like easy pickings, and that could just totally backfire. Anyway, Nick Ball robbed. It wasn't Nick Ball's fault, but they jerked Ray Ford when they did fight. But Ray Ford is back on a winning streak. He's doing good, and we'll see what's next for him. Y'all keep cool. Become a member to the channel. And I'm in the breeze.